Welcome to WYSC, where we give you a quick peek at the day's top stories. I'm Julia Manchester, in for Jamal Simmons. This just in, Roger Stone, longtime associate to President Trump, has been convicted of 7 felonies, including lying to Congress and witness tampering related to efforts to feeding the Trump campaign inside information about WikiLeaks in 2016. We'll continue to watch this story as it develops, but for now, the House Intelligence Committee's impeachment inquiry completed round 2 of public hearings today. We'll take a look at what the ousted ambassador to Ukraine had to say. Another deadly school shooting and another day in America. And a rare win for the Cleveland Browns turns into an ugly brawl with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is why you should care. Former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Marie Yovanovitch testified today in day 2 of the House's public impeachment hearings. The career diplomat is seen as a central figure in the impeachment inquiry. Last month, she testified in closed-door meetings that the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, Ukrainian officials, and others took part in a smear campaign to remove her from her post because she was seen as getting in the way of their political and business interests.
Unfortunately, as the past couple of months have underlined, not all Ukrainians embraced our anti-corruption work. Thus, perhaps it was not surprising that when our anti-corruption efforts got in the way of a desire for profit or power, Ukrainians who preferred to play by the old corrupt rules sought to remove me.
She also testified that she felt, quote, threatened when learning President Trump singled her out in his phone call to Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky. Here are some of the key moments from today's hearing.
Ambassador Yovanovitch was serving our nation's interest in fighting corruption in Ukraine, but she was considered an obstacle to the furtherance of the president's personal and political agenda.
I'm not exactly sure what the ambassador is doing here today. This is the House Intelligence Committee that's now turned into the House Impeachment Committee.
Meanwhile, President Trump continues to vocalize his disdain for the impeachment probe. Here's what he had to say at his rally last night in Louisiana.
It's been very hard on my family. Who ever heard impeachment to me is a dirty word? It's been very unfair, very hard on my family. Me, it's my whole life. It's crazy. What a life I lead. You think this is fun, don't you? But it's been very hard on my family. Very, very hard.
Residents in Santa Clarita, California woke up to a nightmare that so many across the country have suffered, a mass shooting. Yesterday, a 16-year-old student opened fire on his classmates at Saugus High School, fatally shooting 2 students and injuring 3 others. With the last bullet in his .45 caliber semi-automatic weapon, he turned the gun on himself. He is reported to be in grave condition. This is the 30th mass shooting this year. Meanwhile, in Washington, Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, who represented the district where the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting occurred, brought a gun package to the Senate floor meeting yesterday.
We can't go 24 hours without news of another mass shooting somewhere in America. My kids and millions others hide in corners of their classroom or in their bathrooms preparing for a mass shooting at their school, and this body does nothing about it.
Senator Murphy learned of the Santa Clarita shooting just moments after giving a speech about the urgency of addressing gun violence. His bill would have passed universal background checks on firearms. But Republicans blocked Senator Murphy's package from passing, partly on the basis of protecting the Second Amendment. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal was in the middle of giving a speech on gun violence when a staffer handed him a note just as news of the shooting broke.
As I speak, on the floor right now, there is a school shooting in Santa Clara, California. How can we turn the other way? How can we refuse to see that shooting in real time, demanding our attention, requiring our action? We are complicit if we fail to act.
According to reports, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham expressed interest in doing something about gun violence, saying he was prepared to support at least one part of the package, but blamed impeachment for sidetracking the passage of the bill. So why should you care? As lawmakers fight over gun laws to pass or not, the issue hits home for everyday Americans, especially for students. So much so that shooting drills are now commonplace across the country. Investigators are still searching for the shooter's motive. A Thursday night football game between division rivals, the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, turned violent when Browns player Myles Garrett got into it with Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. In the final seconds of the game, as Rudolph attempted a pass, Garrett tackled him and the two got into a scuffle. Video shows that Rudolph grabbed Garrett's helmet and pulled him down. As the fight continued, the two Steelers teammates came to the defense of their quarterback. Garrett ripped off Rudolph's helmet, swung it, and struck him in the head. A brawl ensued between the teams following the attack from Garrett. Multiple players, including Garrett, were ejected from the game. In response to the incident, Rudolph's agent Tim Younger tweeted, quote, "There are many risks an NFL quarterback assumes with every snap taken on the field. Being hit on your uncovered head by a helmet being swung by a 275-pound defensive end is not one of them. Tonight could have been a catastrophic ending. The matter will be reviewed thoroughly." So why should you care? One issue the NFL has begun to take seriously is protecting its players. Head and brain injuries have been a consistent issue the league has had to deal with. The NFL has implemented several rule changes and policies designed to try to curb the problem, including the concussion protocol in 2016. To make matters worse, Mason Rudolph recently had a concussion scare after he was knocked unconscious following a hit from Ravens safety Earl Thomas. Rudolph passed concussion protocol, clearing him to continue football activities. Garrett is facing suspension, and other players are facing fines. Legal action may also be on the table.
Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos. And head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.